everyone, welcome back to Non-Stop Kids Entertainment. My name is Rebecca and as you can see we have returned to my kitchen this week because after last week's weather was lovely and it was gorgeous and I spent 5 days gardening, it's taken a turn for the worse now and it is tipping down with rain, and I don't know about you guys but I don't really like getting wet. So I'm going to stay inside and bake all day because that's what I love doing. Now I wanted to try out something new for you guys today and something new for myself. And it occurred to me that every recipe I've showed you up until now, I've done more than once. It might have been my second attempt at those recipes, it might have been my 5th or 6th attempt at those recipes. Even for the sugar cookies, it was my 20th attempt. I love that recipe and I do it all the time. But I realised that you guys might be a little bit nervous about coming into the kitchen for the first time and trying out something new and baking something or cooking something that you've never even thought about before. So I wanted to show you guys that there is a first time for anything that you will try. Even me. I've never done a basic lasagna before and I've always wanted to. So today I'm going to show you guys me cooking a basic lasagna on camera so you guys can laugh at my mistakes and know you're not alone if you mess up during your recipe, and that's fine. Everyone will always have blunders. All you have to do is pick yourself up and try again. Let's get started, shall we? Woo! Hi everyone, welcome back. So introducing our ingredients, my very first beef lasagna. I've got some mozzarella and cheddar cheese. Mine is pre-shredded, but you can grate your own if need be. I've got my salt and pepper mixture, along with different types of chili in there. I've got 200 grams of bolognese sauce and 200 grams of white cheese sauce. But I do add a bit more later, but you'll see that. And half a packet of lasagna pasta and 400 grams of mince. As you can see, this is way too much. This is 1000 grams, so I do cut it. For our equipment, we're going to be needing a frying pan, a wooden spoon, a small saucepan, and a lasagna tray. Don't forget to wash your hands, I say it every week. Preheat your oven to 180 degrees, assuming you want to eat lasagna right after you make it. So I actually messed up on this next part, guys, and I left in the footage to show you how, why, and what not to do. I was following the instructions from the back of the pasta pack, and it simply says to boil in hot water for 4 to 8 minutes. So I put in all of my pasta sheets, thinking it was a good idea. I realise now that a lot more efficient method is to boil each sheet individually before you put it in the lasagna. Next, add a bit of oil to a hot pan and spread that around. And next we want to prepare our mince. Make sure you've got clean hands. As you can see, I've sectioned off about 400 grams. I just eyeballed mine, but if you want to use a weighing scale, feel free. Don't forget to take all the paper off the bottom of it. When you're done taking the paper off the underside, put that on your frying pan, or 400 grams at once. Go to the heat, and you want to season the meat with some salt and pepper from earlier. Grab your wooden spoon and on a medium heat, stir it every now and then until the entirety of the meat has browned. Once it's cooked through, take it off the heat, grab your tomato or bolognese sauce and stir that on through. Now I actually need some more. Go figure. Like I said, if you need some more of anything, don't be afraid to add it. Stir that on through as well. Putting the other side to one moment, I'm just going to grab my failed pasta attempt and my white cheese sauce. Bringing my lasagna dish forward. And I'm just going to put a layer of my meat at the bottom of the pan. You guys might need more or less depending on the size of your pan or how many layers of the lasagna you want. For mine I'm just doing 2, so I'm using half of my mixture. Now here's where I realised I made a mistake, like I said earlier, by doing all of the pasta at once. It all stuck together and even the first layer was hard to peel off. As you can see, a bit of it got left behind. So I had to do some patchwork, a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. It was at this point I realised that it would be much easier and more efficient to boil each sheet separately. So that's exactly what I did. I had my saucepan on, I boiled the water and then left it on medium heat and boiled each sheet for 3 to 5 minutes separately. After you put your first layer on, you want to get your white cheese sauce and spread that out evenly as well. And I'm just grabbing my meat for my second layer. I'm using the other half of my mixture, but like I said, if you're using a smaller pan, you might need to use a few more layers of meat and pasta. There's also variations of this recipe if you're vegetarian or vegan to use vegetables in the place of the mincemeat, such as broccoli, mushrooms. Be creative. And don't forget the vegan cheese. Just making that layer all even. And grabbing my second sheets of pasta. Learning from my mistakes and doing each one individually. I'm grabbing the last of my white cheese sauce and spreading that out evenly. The more even you make the layers underneath, the better the top result will turn out, so take the time to make it perfect. Grab your cheese and sprinkle that on top. I'm using mozzarella and cheddar, but it's completely up to you what you use. You could also be fancy and use a feta cheese. Once you're finished with your sprinkling, you can grab some herbs. I'm using oregano and basil, 2 herbs I've actually planted out in the garden, and I can't wait until they come up soon. But for now, the dried stuff will do. Put your lasagna in the oven for about 20 minutes. And while we wait, we can prepare some garlic bread, since the garlic bread goes really well with lasagna. After breaking it apart, the best way to peel a garlic clove is just to crush it with a knife like this. And then you can see it's really easy to peel the skin off. Grab your knife and, being careful, cut the ends off. And then chop it up into nice neat little pieces. Now I've actually got myself a garlic crusher, but if you guys haven't got one of these, it's no problem. Just make sure you cut your pieces of garlic really tiny when you do your chopping. Though honestly, having the garlic crusher does make life easier. If you guys are planning on using garlic more than one recipe, and more often than not, I'd recommend getting one of these. Next, grab your butter. I used soft butter because I found it a little bit easier to spread, but if you guys only have salted or unsalted butter, that's completely fine. Mix that well in together with the garlic. Push on the back of the spoon to get it really soft like this. Grab your bread. It can be white or brown, it's completely up to you. Spread the garlic butter on in a nice even layer. If you want a bit more of a garlicky taste, you can add a thicker layer. Make sure to go right to those edges. I'm just finishing up my 4th one. I made enough for me and my dad, and we love garlic bread. Then you can pop this in the toaster, or if you have a grill, you can use that instead. Just keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn. When that lasagna comes out of the oven, you can serve it right away with your garlic bread and your veggies. I hope you all enjoyed this recipe. I can't wait to see you all again next week. Bye bye!